a lot of things have gone on in the last couple of weeks with regards to transfers and everything. And when we talk about transfers, we're talking about like players who have been signed by Manchester United. I mean, we're talking about 16-year-olds, 18-year-olds, and maybe Matosh Cunha, and then the consistent update or interest of interest for Manchester United for Brian Mbeumo, which has now eventually turned into a saga. But we'll bring you more of that. But in this video, we're just going to react to basically or talk about why we believe that Manchester United will succeed under Ruben Amorim, or why Ruben Amorim will succeed at Manchester United. But thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing, and following us, as we build our community and continue to, evolve and, try to, grow together and all of that. I don't take it for granted that you guys have followed us and try to build this community together as we're trying to reach milestones. But then, we're going to take a deep dive and into more like a tactical blueprint as to how Ruben Amorim will succeed at Manchester United. We're going to just take a deep dive into his mind as he shapes his game. And we're unveiling one of the most talked about stories in English football, obviously, the Amorim Effect. Now, that's what we're going to tag this video, the Amorim Effect. Now, at Manchester United, there's a whole lot that's been going on. A lot of fans in outrage and panic and fear that Ruben Amorim might not succeed because the board is not helping him to succeed. But his arrival at Old Trafford last November was a very seismic event, replacing Erik ten Hag and signaling the bold direction for Manchester United by the board. Now, his first season basically was to put it mildly, a baptism of fire. Obviously, like he won after his first 5 games, he said, "Oh, a storm is coming," and actually, boy, a storm came. But as we look ahead of the 25-26 campaign, with no European distractions, can Amorim finally unleash the transformative impact he is known for? That's a question that we need to think about. We'll dissect his coaching history, the principles that brought him success, and what went wrong last season, and also why the upcoming year could also be a turning point. Talking about what went wrong last season, I released a video recently about what we learned from last season, about why last season went the way it did. I also released a review of what happened last season in general. So we're going to just, touch a bit on that, and then you can go watch the video on the channel and you can understand what we learned, right? But, we're going to also talk about why this upcoming year could also be a turning point for Ruben Amorim. We'll also talk about the key potential signings like Brian Mbeumo, as well as all the other signings that we've seen, like even strikers and all of that, and the crucial role of United's academy stars, including the existing talent in the left wing position, like Diogo Leon. Now, we'll start by looking at the architect himself, Ruben Amorim. Born in Lisbon in 1985, had a respectable career, even winning 3 Premier League titles with Benfica, but it is his coaching journey that truly set him apart. He started at 3rd division side Casa Pia in 2018. I talked about this in his coaching profile when I talked about all about Ruben Amorim in a video sometime last season. But after a rocky start, he quickly found his stride, implementing a back 3 system that led to an unbeaten run. This early experience showed his conviction and his pragmatic approach. Now, his rise was meteoric, basically. It was meteoric. By September 2019, he was with Braga's reserves, winning 7 of 8 games within 3 months, and he was promoted to the first team. Now, in his brief 13-game spell, he secured Portuguese League Cup in 2020 and achieved the historic 7-1 win over BSAD or BSAD. Now, we're going to talk about, his move to Sporting Lisbon, or Sporting CP. Now, then came the move, basically, to Sporting CP, as they paid a staggering 10 million euros for his services in March of 2020, making him one of the most expensive managers ever at the time. Despite his limited senior experience, it was a gamble that paid off handsomely. We all know that in his first full season in 2020-2021, because obviously in March he moved to Sporting, and obviously season wasn't over then. It was like maybe a few games to the end of the season. But his first full season in 2020-2021, Amorim led Sporting to their first Premier Liga in 19 years, achieving an incredible 32-game unbeaten run, right? In the league, and a domestic double. I mean, he added a second league title in 23-24, along with 2 more League Cups and a Super Cup. When he left for Manchester United in November 2024, Sporting were 6 points clear at the top, having matched their best ever start in 11 in the league, with 11 wins from 11 matches. 11 matches, right? Including a memorable 4-1 Champions League victory over Manchester City. We all remember that. By then, Ruben Amorim had already agreed a deal with Manchester United, and then obviously we were going to watch Man City to see, what we expected. At that time, I think Liverpool were also interested in Ruben Amorim, and a lot of things were going on, right, with him and all of that. So Liverpool were interested, and I think before the 23-24 season, right? Now, we're going to talk about the Amorim Effect at Sporting. Now, the Amorim Effect at Sporting is undeniable. Obviously, we all knew, or we've heard the stories that have made the rounds. Before his departure, his win rate in 24-25 season was a phenomenal 88.9%. Now, they were already on the top of the table when he left, and they still won the league when he left. Despite the fact that they crashed out of the Champions League, they still won the league when he left, and I think they won the cup. Now, after he left, under his successors, the win rate dropped from 88.9% significantly to 55.6% in the same season. This isn't just a statistical blip. It speaks volumes about his profound impact and the team's performance and identity. And a few of the players who played under Ruben Amorim have also, had interest from other clubs. Giovanni Cunha has already signed for Chelsea, amongst other players. Inacio is of interest to Manchester United. And the other centre-back, Diamande, is also of interest to other clubs in Europe. Now, his tactical philosophy is built on a flexible 3-4-3 and 3-4-2-1 formation, which can morph into a 4-3-3 or even a 3-2-5 in attack. Now, his teams are known to purposefully hold possession, right, with high intensity pressing and defensive solidity. And you need a certain level of fitness to be able to continue to do this across the entire season. Now, in possession, the central defender often pushes into midfield to create a 2-3 or 3-2 man midfield shape, facilitating central possession and progression. When attacking, it often becomes a 3-2-5 with wing backs pushing high to create a front five. Now, this system heavily relies on dynamic elite wing backs who also provide both width in attack and defensive cover. Now, Amorim's commitment to youth development and also he was also a cornerstone. Case in point, Giovanni Cunha, who was brought from the academy, created, was a success, basically at Sporting. He immersed himself in the club's youth teams, showing immense trust in young players. Players like Gonzalo, Inacio, Usman Diamande, as I stated earlier. We even have Giovanni Cunha, and we had also Zeno De Bast. They flourished under him, basically. He even fast-tracked talents like Giovanni Cunha, as I said. He also became Sporting's youngest ever goal scorer. That's Giovanni Cunha in question. Now, the average age of the Sporting squad was around 26.6 years, highlighting his reliance on youthful talent. And that is what the direction that Manchester United is about to head into. With the signing of Cunha, who is 26, who just turned 26, right? And the interest in Mbeumo, who's basically 25 years old. Now, his player management style is characterized by charisma and straightforward communication, treating players as human beings first. Striker Victor Gyökeres, who scored 39 goals in the second season under Amorim, said that the manager's tactical approach suited him perfectly. But you little wonder why he wants to come. He doesn't want to come. One would also wonder why he doesn't want to come to Manchester United to play under a manager who brought the best out of him, despite the fact that he's had Premier League experience playing in Brentford, who would have thought, in 2020, and then played for Coventry, and then eventually from Coventry went to went to Sporting, and then obviously you hear stuff like he is only interested in Arsenal. I'm trying to understand why you'll be interested in a club who hasn't made a final in the last 5 years, right? So, but it is what it is. And the truth is, with someone like Victor Gyökeres, if we had Victor Gyökeres as a striker in that game against Tottenham, the final of the Europa League, we definitely would have conquered. If we had Victor Gyökeres in our team and he had, even if it's 15 goals or 10 goals, we would have been in a better position than we are, right? We were when we played last season, right? But, you know, Victor Gyökeres has said that Amorim's tactical approach suited him perfectly, and that he can thank him enough. He can't thank him enough. Another player that we can make reference to that worked under Ruben Amorim very well and then eventually was sold, I think, to Fulham, and now he's in Bayern Munich, is João Palhinha. Now, João Palhinha referred to him as his friend, and Mateus Reis described his experience as life-changing. I mean, the deep trust and connection with his players was vital to Sporting's cohesion and overperformance. Now, one would now try to understand why he's trying to create a relationship with players who don't want to create a relationship with him, and then those ones are exiled. Case in point, Anthony, Rashford, maybe Tyrone Malacia, because he's out of form, just came back, he hasn't even hit hit strides yet. We're talking of Alejandro Garnacho, who is trying to build a relationship with, trying to teach how to be patient and how to be grounded. But Alejandro Garnacho is always going or coloring outside the lines. You know, these 5 players, you know, who are going to be exiled. Jadon Sancho, who hasn't even played under him, but he's already showing that he's going to be an issue when it comes to and is the reason why we need a cultural reset. These 5 players are also already a problem, and Ruben Amorim is always trying to build valuable relationships with players so that we can actually have, you know, a meaningful squad with a good culture that doesn't involve player power and all whatnot. So we can talk all about this, but one thing we need to understand is that there are certain things that, you know, that people don't really talk about, but Ruben Amorim has showed it in the past that he needs to build relationships with players so that they can be able to play for him. There's even news, obviously, that Ruben Amorim has said that he doesn't want a situation where these players that have been exiled will mix with the players that are currently, you know, in training for the preseason. So these are the things that we need to, you know, think about. Now let's turn to his challenging first season at Manchester United. Let's just break it down a little bit. You know, Amorim took the helm on the 1st of November, but he arrived at the club on the 11th of November. While it started with a promising 4-0 win over Everton, the 24-25 season was, by all counts, disastrous. Everybody knows that. United finished a dismal 15th in the Premier League, the worst ever season in terms of points and league position. And under Amorim, the Premier League record from November to the end of the season was just 11 wins, 9 draws, and 18 losses. From November alone, right? Accumulating 39 points, basically, I think getting to 40 after Everton's, after the win at Villa. Now, this translated to 26% win rate in the league. And that has brought his win rate down from 88.9 that he had at Sporting to now having 26%. And if he gets a high win rate this season, this first three-quarter of a season is not going to be, you know, it's not going to be a good look on his record. But it is what it is. We have to just, you know, just move from this and, you know, try to put this season behind us. Now, this is a stark contrast, like I said, to Sporting numbers. Across all competitions, his win record at United stood at an embarrassing 39%. Now, the team also scored 44 goals only, ranking 11th, and conceded 54, ranking 9th. Right? Interestingly, they also recorded the most tackles in the league with 816. Now, beyond the league, United's European hopes ended with a loss to Tottenham Hotspurs in Europa League final. And this is a major reason for these struggles, basically. Now, the winning the Europa League would have been what culminates the season and helps us to achieve great heights, right? But a major reason for the struggles was the significant mismatch, and that's what we're going to kind of dive into now. What really was the major reason for Manchester United struggles in the season. We could talk about so many things. Erik ten Hag's formation, players being used to the 4-2-3-1, unable to kind of change when a quarter of the season is almost gone, right, or gone as of November. Pretty much that. Now, a major reason for these struggles was a significant mismatch between Amorim's preferred 3-4-3 or 3-4-2-1 system and the inherited squad. That's pretty much straightforward. I know a lot of people have been saying, oh, no excuses, this and that, but there's been a mismatch. The 3-4-3 formation or 3-4-2-1 formation versus the squad inherited. Amorim's refusal to compromise on his formation, publicly stating, I will not change anything in the way I do things, exacerbated these issues. And the truth is, I respect him because this is the kind of manager we've always wanted. A manager that will stick to his guns. Erik ten Hag, everybody criticized him for not wanting to change his formation, not wanting to change, his everybody criticized Erik ten Hag for changing his formation, for switching from his Ajax way of 4-3-3 to a proper 3-4-3. Obviously there are some loopholes in that 4-3-3 formation, as you can see, or you could have seen when Chelsea decimated PSG in the Club World Cup. The 4-3-3 formation didn't work against Chelsea's 4-2-3-1 or 4-2-1-3, depending on how you see the formation. But it is what it is. Now, Amorim had stated he's not going to change, and everybody's like, oh, he should change, he should evolve. This is the Premier League, blah, 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 blah. So you cannot get it right, especially with the media. But the squad also lacked natural wing backs, with the required dynamism and the defensive, understanding of his system, forcing defenders into unfamiliar roles, that frankly probably looked not good enough for the squad. The tactical flexibility reportedly led to a lot of player discontent, as you could have seen in the media, with concerns about Mainoo struggling for minutes and Marcus Rashford being out of the system. Some even perceived that Amorim had hated the squad. Basically, I know he made a statement at some point where he said that this has to be the squad in My United history, and then he backtracked or retracted his statement. Marcus Rashford could have worked for this squad. He's played as a top 9. He could have worked for this squad with someone like Xerxes in the squad. He could have worked as one of the strikers. To help Rasmus Højlund, or to even help Joshua Xerxes at some point. And if Amorim had played Xerxes probably like deeper and then Rashford ahead, that technique, that space, running into space and all of that would have helped. And Rashford could have contributed at least 10 goals in the league alone, right? But Rashford didn't work hard, and a lot of things were going on, and probably some things were said between Rashford and Amorim, but it is what it is. Now, if we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about the system, players were reportedly using, so basically, before that, it was stated that Amorim hated the squad, right? Amorim himself acknowledged the difficulties, noting that his players were thinking too much. These were like after the first 7 games or so, and I think at one game where we struggled against Southampton and then eventually came back due to Ahmad's goal and Christian Eriksen's assist. He says players were thinking too much during games. The intense fixture congestion also, with 10 games in his first month, meant that no time to work on anything. He said it, obviously, in multiple press conferences, and you must have seen that on our channel as well, especially in training. Players were reportedly using warm-ups as mini training sessions, highlighting the severe lack of preparation time for such a complex tactical overhaul. Now, this lack of time prevented the system from taking root, leading to a vicious cycle of poor results and frustration. And you could tell the system was new. Everybody was trying to adjust to it. Everybody was trying to align to it, but it was really difficult, for players to kind of, assert themselves into the system or learn the system. And a lot of people will talk about, new manager bounce and all of that. When we never had the manager bounce with Van Nistelrooy, and then Ruben Amorim's first 5-6 games, and after that it just petered out because obviously the players it was like a totally new system. Ruben Amorim came and played the 4-2-3-1. Ruben Amorim came and changed everything to 3-4-3, and then everybody had to, and then plus the injuries and all of that. But this is where the narrative has to shift, especially with 25-26 season, right? It presents Manchester United a unique opportunity for us to progress, or to see if we can progress through this. For the first time since 2014, 2015, we will not be competing in European football. Now, while financially impactful, this absence offers significant strategic advantages for Amorim in implementing his vision and to improve the team's Premier League standing. I've seen a lot of predictions by big content creators who say that Manchester United will potentially finish 7th. Others say, Manchester United will potentially finish or relegate, because obviously the board are not helping the manager, if you know what I mean. So it is what it is. It's one thing that we need to think about, but then it's also one thing we need to understand that patience is very key, and patience is a virtue in these kind of things. Big content creators should learn to try to instill some kind of calm, even though we want to keep our powder dry and try and talk about, what the board is doing. But everybody seems to be panicking at the same time. But it is what it is, right? Now, the reduced fixture congestion will provide crucial, uninterrupted training time. Amorim himself has called more time to train. Has called for more time to train and rediscover players or recover players, right? And he has called it like one of the biggest things that could happen to this Manchester United squad as we prepare for what will happen the season after. With only Premier League and the domestic cup commitments, the team will have full weeks of training to work on tactical elements, refine movements, and build a deep understanding required for Amorim's complex 3-4-3 system. And this is a stark contrast to the previous season's chaos, right? Fewer matches also mean enhanced player recovery and fitness management, reducing injury risk and ensuring players are fresh for each league encounter. And this means that we're going to focus solely on the league and domestic cups, and then we can have players ready to go. And then we can also have the opportunity to even try out young players and then give other players rest, just for rest and recovery, as we said. And there's also news. Now, remember, Ruben Amorim gave certain players their training regimens to be able to, bespoke or personified or personalized training regimes or routines for them to be able to get ready for the season before they started preseason, right? Now, the summer 2025 window is absolutely pivotal, but it hasn't, gone on well. United must also move away from signing players for specific managers and instead acquire players who precisely fit Amorim's system and who are more of a system manager, but not just Amorim players. We've already seen a 60.5 million pound signing of Cunha from Wolves, who is seen as a perfect fit for the left side forward role in Amorim's 3-4-2-1 system. I could have also seen that Marcus Rashford could have also evolved his game to fit the Amorim system by playing as one of the at the left side of 10, just as Garnacho did. But Garnacho is all about personality and character. But if Rashford could have done that, he could have also been a pivotal player, in Amorim's system. But he didn't. It doesn't work hard, and the system involves everybody working hard together. Cunha's ability to receive the passes between the lines. Amorim was very surprised that Garnacho could do that, and he praised Garnacho earlier in his tenure, right? That he was surprised that Garnacho could also receive balls between the line. Rashford could also have done that, not just only focus on trying to play the ball, run at players, or even run behind players. Because Garnacho played across the front, he played as right 10, played as left 10, and all of that. Rashford could have played as a left 10 as well, right? But it is what it is. Now with Cunha, had the ability to receive the ball between the lines, also carry the ball into a final third and contribute defensively, aligns perfectly with Ruben Amorim's tactical pressing game. And in 24-25 Premier League season, Cunha had 21 goal involvements, as I've stated in his player profile, which you can see on the channel. He also ranked 4th for carries into the final third and 9th for completed take-ons, right? Now, another exciting prospect is Mbeumo from Brentford. He has been mentioned as a target and could also be a key addition to the right side of Amorim's attack. Mbeumo had an impressive 27-goal involvement in 24-25 season, and in 24-25 Premier League season, making him a highly productive forward, and who could also thrive in Amorim's fluid system. Could also play as the right 10. Now, Amorim's system demands specific player profiles, especially for the wing-back positions, which are crucial for both width in attack and defensive cover. While the current squad lacked the natural fits last season, Manchester United already possesses promising talents in these roles. On the left side, like Patrick Dorgu, we have Ariel Mas, and now Diego Leon, who is just a new signing as well, right? They possess promising talent in these roles, and they're already part of the squad, right? Dorgu was signed in January, but he's played, and we can all see what he can bring to the team. If we had a good scoring season with the chances Dorgu created, we probably would have scored more goals. And obviously, the squad can also be developed to fulfill the demanding wing-back role as required. Dorgu is listed as a left wing-back option in the potential depth charts. Ariel Mas also received senior minutes the latter stages of last season, indicating his potential. And on the right side, Giovanni Quenda was a target for Amorim at Sporting, but he signed for Chelsea, and the focus will also be on developing existing players and ensuring that they can adapt to the system, right? In central defense, Amorim prefers, talented and young defenders. Speaking of right back, before we go on to central defense, right wing backs, we have Diogo Dalot as well, and it is said that we also need reinforcements. We also have players like Nuse Mazraoui, who also could fill that role, but we could also bring in potentials from the academy, like Jaden Kamasin or even Bendito Matato. Bendito Matato can work in that team, in that wing-back position. And then we have Ahmad as well, who is also there, can work as a right 10 and also as a wing-back. Now, in the central defense, as I said, Amorim prefers talented and young defenders comfortable with progressive passing and stepping into midfield. Gonzalo Inacio, a former Sporting player under Ruben Amorim, is reportedly a target, and his attributes align closely with, the manager's tactical demands. A number 9 is also a likely priority, with Patrick Schick from Bayern Leverkusen mentioned as a potential option. Even though Erik ten Hag is now the new coach of Bayern Leverkusen and will probably not want to release one of his top players. Furthermore, an overhaul of the existing squad is also necessary, right? With players who are unsuited for Amorim's style, such as Marcus Rashford, Alejandro Garnacho, Jadon Sancho, Anthony, and probably Tyrell Malacia, reportedly desired for sale. Now, the strategic pruning combined with targeted acquisitions will allow Amorim to mold the squad in his image and build a cohesive unit. Crucially, Amorim's success will significantly be bolstered by the integration and development of Manchester United's own academy talent. And he has a proven track record of nurturing youth and seamlessly bringing them into the first team. Last season, young players like Chido Obi, who also made history as the youngest ever Manchester United Premier League player starter at just age 17 and 156 days, and Aiden Heaven, who regularly was given senior minutes, was also given time, to play at the squad in the team, especially with Aiden Heaven, right, who was signed from Arsenal. Ariel Mas and Tyler Fredrickson were also featured. Beyond these promising talents like Jack Fletcher, Sekou Kone, Benito Mantato, as I mentioned, are in the academy ranks, eager to impress, contribute to Amorim's willingness, contribute to Amorim's style of play and the squad and the team as well. But with Amorim's willingness to trust and elevate these emerging players, as he did effectively in Sporting, will be vital, for building a sustainable and cohesive squad that truly embodies his philosophy. Now, for the 25-26 season, key players for success will also include Matheus Cunha. As I mentioned, Manchester United have already signed him. He's left inside forward and also can play as a striker. A new signing, Cunha is expected to also be a perfect fit. And on the left, of the attacking trio, his ability to receive the ball in half spaces, carry it through the thirds, and create or score goals, like with his 21 goal involvement in 24-25 season, will make him a vital piece for unlocking United's attacking and attacking potential, and also providing his vertical Amorim the verticality that Amorim desires. Now his defensive work rate also aligns with the high press. Another potential that could also be a perfect fit for Manchester United and for this Amorim system is Mbeumo. If he signs, then Mbeumo's impressive 27 goal involvement in the 24-25 season will also be crucial for providing goal threat and versatility on the right side of Amorim's attack. Another person, obviously, we already have in the squad, was of interest to Real Madrid and to Al Hilal, is Bruno Fernandes. Central attacking midfielder, inside forward as well, could also play on either side, even if we don't get the players that we need, and we sign a midfielder because we've also lost a midfielder, Christian Eriksen. Manchester United's captain can also be a creative hub for Man United, right? In Amorim's system, he's likely to play as a central attacking midfielder, operating closer to the box or providing crucial passes and goal threat. I mean, his ability to link play and provide goal contributions will be essential, potentially taking some burden off him with Cunha's arrival. Now, another player that could also be, influential in this Amorim systems could be Mainoo as a central midfielder. While he struggled for minutes initially, Amorim has expressed his desire for Mainoo to find Mainoo's best position, noting his technical ability and his comfort near the box when given freedom. Now, he's identified as a strong candidate for progressive central midfield role in the balanced midfield too, known for his ball carrying and press resistance, right? His development and integration into a key midfield role is very paramount. Now, another player that we can also think about in this system is Patrick Dorgu, or probably Patrick Dorgu and Harry Mas, basically our left wing back, and including Diego Leon, depending on if I'm fast tracks him into the first team. With existing talents in this position, we already have left wing back position covered. The focus will also be developing Dorgu, Mas, and Leon to become dynamic, high intensity wing backs, crucial for Amorim system. You could see in some of the clips that Leon is also, Diego Leon is also a high intensity wing back. Now, the ability to contribute significantly in both attack and defense will be key in providing necessary width, crossing ability, and also defensive solidity for the 3-4-3 formation, right? Another thing we can also think about is the right wing back position or the right 10, depending on what happens in the transfer market, if we sign Mbeumo or not. Amad Diallo, right inside forward, right wing back. Amad has shown promise, particularly as an inverted winger and also a right wing back. I mean, his 1v1 ability, which Amorim always talks about, and capacity to create space is very valuable in Amorim's fluid attack. Cunha's signing could allow Amad to revert to a wing back role where he previously excelled, providing line breaking, dribbling from the wider areas, which is also key as well. Then a new striker could also be integral in all of this to give more competition for players like Rasmus Højlund. We could also say maybe Joshua Zirkzee, as the case may be. A clinical finisher capable of occupying our spaces, holding up play, making runs in behind, similar to Gyökeres. Patrick Schick is one of them. Now that I'm thinking about it, we could also go for Strand Larsen. I don't know, it sounds very weird. It might not be a name that everybody would like, but Strand Larsen is a good player for Wolves. He worked with Cunha. He could also work in this system because he has worked in the system in Wolves. I don't know why I thought about that on the spot, Strand Larsen, but I'm going to think about it and do a bit more research on that, and maybe tell you the reason why I think he could also be a player that Manchester United could be interested in. Player that makes runs in behind, similar to Gyökeres, is very essential. That's basically the type of striker that Ruben Amorim would be expecting in his squad. Now, the recruitment of reliable 20 to 25 goal plus a season striker is top priority to provide the focal point for United's attack. Now, to conclude all of this and to kind of round this all up, Ruben Amorim's tenure at Sporting showcased a transformative Amorim effect, which is what we're talking about, the Amorim effect, characterized by a tactical conviction, youth development, and a cohesive squad built through system-specific recruitment. His challenging first season at Manchester United in 24-25 was just largely a consequence of significant tactical mismatch between a rigid 3-4-3 formation and the inherited squad, which is ill-suited for its demand, compounded by relentless fixture schedule and injuries. At some point we had literally the defense. I mean, at one point, Harry Maguire injured. Obviously, we had Lisandro Martinez injured for a long period of time with his ACL injury against Crystal Palace. And then we had, at some point, Lenioro also getting injured. And at some point, we also had Edin Heaven, Nozema Mazraoui, and probably Lenioro as the back three. At some point, we had Edin Heaven. We had Tyler Fredrickson in I think, against Wolves, and one other centre back. So then Edin Heaven got injured against Leicester, and then, it just injuries back and forth. So this season will be very crucial for Ruben Amorim. Now looking ahead with the 25-26 season, the absence of European commitments presents a crucial window of opportunity for Amorim to fully implement his vision. Now, this reduced fixture congestion will also provide invaluable, uninterrupted training time, allowing him to also embed his complex tactical patterns and improve player understanding and cohesion. Furthermore, the lighter schedule will facilitate optimal player recovery and fitness, crucial for sustaining high-intensity demands of his system in the Premier League. Now, success in the coming season hinges on a robust system-first recruitment strategy, which is very key, the acquisition of players like Cunha and potentially Mbeumo, who perfectly fit the tactical blueprint, and even a midfielder and a striker, which is one of the other things we might need. And also, the continued development of existing talent, particularly in key roles like wing backs, are also paramount. Simultaneously, the club must strategically offload players who do not align with Amorim's philosophy. With patience, a fully committed recruitment drive, and a significant advantage of a focused domestic schedule, Ruben Amorim has the potential to redefine Manchester United's identity and steer the club back towards Premier League competitiveness. The 25-26 season will be the true test of the Amorim effect in this demanding English football landscape. Now, that's pretty much all we have for you of digging deep into the minds and giving you like a history as to how we got to where we are and how the Amorim effect will be a success at Manchester United. This is me being positive and believing that anything can happen, and I believe that Ruben Amorim can succeed in Man United, considering the less congested Premier League fixtures. Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. Do not hesitate to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as it relates to Manchester United. We have continued to grow. We're hitting milestones. We are about 29 subscribers from hitting the milestone. Please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as it relates to Manchester United. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing as well. Liking, sharing, and subscribing. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If you got to this end, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. God bless you. Take care, goodbye, and God bless.